Hello everyone, so I just want to cover two teams that you should be watching this season, and the very historic teams and had an amazing journey, and everybody should know about them. Starting with Freiburg in the Bundesliga. So I want you all to take a look at this, so keep an eye out on the screen. Starting with the manager, Christian Strength. What's interesting about him, he's actually been at Freiburg he's the longest serving manager in the Bundesliga to date at 14 years, but it actually goes further than that. He's actually been at Freiburg since 1995 when he began his reign as under-19 manager. Then he became assistant of the senior team and then manager of the senior team in 2011. What's interesting about Freiburg is how forward thinking they are. It's all about the long term. Their motto is, it's always about the long term. So for example, Christian Strength actually got Freiburg relegated. And instead of making a knee-jerk decision, they thought about the long-term project and could see he was building something. So they stuck with him, showed faith in him. He's gotten back into the Bundesliga in the first time of asking, and they haven't looked back since. They've been just on an upward spiral ever since, and it's beautiful to see. And they're bringing in youth and bringing in players from the academy. So last game, which was last Bundesliga game, should I say, they had 12 academy products in their squad. That's incredible for a team with very minimal finances. It's great to see. And last season was the first time he actually got them qualified for the European places, got them into Europa League. So keep an eye out for them in the Europa League this season. But this season he started off like a house on fire, unbeaten, and he's played the likes of Bayern Munich, RB Leipzig, and he can actually, that's Union Berlin that I'm getting on next. But he can actually go top of the Bundesliga by 3 points with a win against Borussia Mönchengladbach today, who are on great form. So what a game that'll be. It's in Freiburg, and their crowd and atmosphere is absolutely incredible. It's going to be live on BT Sports. Make sure you tune in to that today at 4 o'clock. But definitely a team to keep an eye out. Christian Strength, what a job he's doing. And I wouldn't be surprised if a bigger club doesn't come in for him. But I wouldn't be surprised if he rejects them either. I think the likes of Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund all know that he probably won't manage in the Bundesliga with a different club. He loves Freiburg, but what I love about him the most, he's not really into football. Like, in his spare time, he goes to the pub, and outside Freiburg's first team, he doesn't watch football. So, like, he'll never watch the Champions League or the other Bundesliga games. Never sits and watches them like other managers do. Other managers spend 24/7 just devoted to football, whereas Christian Strength goes to a pub with his mates, has a couple of beers, and he tells them, I don't want to talk about football. Let's talk about travelling, politics, anything else other than football. It's incredible because he's doing an unbelievable job. So it just goes to show you might not need to be as devoted and as dedicated as a Pep Guardiola or Mikel Arteta or anybody else to be successful. Definitely a team to keep an eye out. If you want to follow any Bundesliga team, keep an eye out for Freiburg and Union Berlin, who I'm moving on to next. So, Union Berlin, their journey has been quite remarkable. From the 4th tier in the Bundesliga all the way at the top tier. And it's just a mind-blowing story. So in 2004, they were very, very in financial trouble, should I say. So they were not bankrupt or anything like that, but they couldn't afford to move the club to where it wanted to be. So what the fans did in 2004 is they give blood to a local hospital to raise funds for the club. Now, I don't know how they've done that in terms of the transaction of the funds, but it just goes to show their dedication to the club. And ever since, they've been on an upward spiral, just like Freiburg. More than 12,000, they couldn't afford to develop the stadium to progress in the leagues that they needed to do. So they needed a certain amount of capacity, a certain amount of look, feel about the stadium to move into Bundesliga 2, to move into the Bundesliga. And they couldn't afford to do it. So over 12,000 volunteer fans paid their own time, spare time, to construct and work on the building and develop the stadium to where it needed to be. That's just incredible. And if anybody doesn't know what the 50+1 rule is, it's pretty much a structure where the fans have a vote. So you pay a certain amount of fee a month, whether that be, let's say in English pounds, £10 or £20 a month, and you get a vote on pretty much everything that the club are doing. And your votes really, really count more than the chairman's, pretty much. So they had a say where the club was going. Now, for years upon years, Hertha Berlin have been the top club in Berlin. But Union Berlin have taken over in the past couple of years. So they've got promoted to the Bundesliga for the first time in their history in 2018. And that was with manager Urs Fischer, who you can probably see on this screen here. There he is, the beautiful man there. And he took charge 2018, got them promoted that season into the Bundesliga for the very first time. And they haven't looked back. In 2019, I think they finished 7th, which was the first time that ever qualified for the European spot, getting a UEFA Conference League spot, which was absolutely mind-blowing and above all expectations of every single fan in Germany, because in Germany they expected them to go straight back down. They expected them to get relegated at the first point. They expected them to not even pretty much win a game in the Bundesliga. They did start off quite poorly, but since the turn of the year, Christmas, they just didn't look back. And last season, in their second season, they actually finished 5th, qualifying for the Europa League. That is absolutely remarkable for a club like Union Berlin. And if you look at his win percentage in the Bundesliga, it's quite remarkable. 70 wins, 49 draws, 47 losses, which is to be expected, by the way, with a 42% win rate. I bet when they first got promoted, if you asked a Bundesliga fan what their percentage of a win rate would be in the Bundesliga, they'd probably say max 20%. So they've pretty much doubled that. It's absolutely beautiful to see. They're a beautiful club. The stadium's quite interesting because it's all like, it's hidden away. I know, but well, Berlin's the capital of Germany, so it's hidden away in a forest somewhere, because they were just this minimal club that unless you were a fan of that club, nobody even knew. Nobody even cared about, because it was all about Hertha Berlin. But since they've got into the Bundesliga, they've finished above Hertha Berlin. And I'm sure a Union Berlin fan might correct me on this, but I'm pretty sure since getting promoted to the Bundesliga, they're actually unbeaten against Hertha. It's mind-blowing because nobody expected it. And it's just beautiful to see. So instead of having a one-season syndrome, like Sheffield United, for example, in the Premier League, and who went straight back down in the second season, they've actually maintained it. And that's forward thinking, just like Freiburg. Two beautiful clubs. Make sure you keep an eye out for them this season. Follow them on Twitter, because the Twitter accounts are funny as ever as well. And yeah, that's my recommendations for who to follow in the Bundesliga when there's no Premier League games on. That's me done for this section. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Freiburg fans, Union Berlin fans, I might have got something wrong. If I have, don't be shy to correct me in the comments below. Any feedback is greatly appreciated. But two managers that are doing terrific jobs at two beautiful clubs. Make sure you keep an eye out for them, especially in Europe this season, because it's going to be interesting to see how far they can go. Adios, amigos.